Namaste. Welcome to our 74th talk on the Bhagavad Gita. We're just at the very beginning of the 16th chapter, the yoga of the division between the divine and the demonic. At first, Krishna names virtues, powers, abilities that are characteristic of those who are capable of attaining higher consciousness. So we'll go right back to the very beginning of the list, which is the beginning of the first verse. Fearlessness, purity of being, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga, almsgiving, self control, sacrifice, self study, tapasya, and straightforwardness, nonviolence, ahimsa, truthfulness. Truthfulness is a comprehensive term. It means being truthful in speech, but also being truthful in action. If you say you believe you're an immortal being and you don't live like you're an immortal being, or you say you believe you're destined for self realization, but you make no attempt to attain self realization, that is asat, that's untruth. You're not truthful. So you have to think truthfully, live truthfully, and speak truthfully, of course. And also, speaking truth means not leaving anything out. There's also that, you see, that is a favorite. Yes. All right. Truthfulness. Absence of anger. In other words, there is no feeling of this hostility, hatred, which is implied there, and a wish to even strike out and injure someone. Renunciation, vairagya, being able to say, I can let go of that. Also knowing it isn't, first of all, it isn't even mine to take hold of. And second, if it was, it wouldn't be worth it because I have a greater destiny than to just say have the most beautiful garden in the neighborhood. Tranquility, santosha, peacefulness. And that's in the mind as well as in behavior. Without calumny, not lying about anyone, and not destroying, gossiping, and destroying, say, a person's reputation, lying about a person's character, or lying and saying that good things that person has done that they didn't do. And then, of course, lying and saying that there are negative things that they did do when they did not. A desire to ruin a person's image in another person's mind. Compassion for beings. And you see, it says beings. Uncovetousness. Not saying, I want what you've got. I mean, you could say, I'd like a car like that because it looks really good. But it means being envious of them, envy, jealousy. And in case they have one of a kind of something, thinking, I wish there was a way I could get it away from them. There are some people that they don't care much about anything, certain because they have such barren souls, they don't even have many desires. But they're jealous people, and they cannot stand for someone to have something they do not have. So if you've got it, they've got to have it. I knew this very neurotic woman who it didn't matter what a person would say. Oh, I got a so and so yesterday, or even show her and say, I've got this, and she'd say, I want one. I'm not exaggerating. She'd say, whining. She had plenty of money, but always, I want one. If you've got it, I want it. If you don't have it, well, then I don't want it. There are people you can control their behavior completely, in a sense, by uh, displaying what you've got that they now have to scramble and get. Gentleness, not just, all right, I'm dignified, I'm kind of sitting here, but I'm very non-committal. No. Gentle, friendly. You never think, there are some people you think, well, they just may hit me at any moment because their whole aura is one of tension and often of anger. But these are people who are gentle, they are harmless. You know they will do no harm. Modesty, not having a great idea of who I am and I'm the greatest and well, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I went to school with a boy that it didn't matter what anybody here he would say, I've got one of those. And it was always much better than the one he was looking at. But it was really the truth. His father had a lot of money and he had a lot of stuff. So he wanted the world to know he had it. It shows a very deficient self image, actually. Absence of fickleness. Not saying, oh, yes, I will. Oh, no, I won't. I had a friend like this. I'd say, I'm going to go to the monastery of the angels to listen to the nuns sing vespers. Oh, I'm going to go too. And then she'd fool around, and I basically late. And I didn't have a car; she did. So if I was going, I either had to walk, which was long distance, or I had to take a bus. So I'd say, "Well, it's time to go." I'm not going to go. It was not more than once. I'm sorry to say. One time, I finally corrected the situation, but I don't want you to know I could be so negative. So absence of fickleness. In other words, you're not changing all the time. And if you say you're going to do it, you do it, unless you realize later it's a mistake. You're firm. I remember I told Mom one time, I said, Mother, there, on into my mouth, I said, Ma, there, there's not one authentic spiritual teacher in America. She calmly nodded and said, Yes, I know. Uh-huh. And I said, Well, these people, they were only one or so was American yogi. The others were from India. I said, Well, Ma, they have ashrams, they have organizations, and they sponsor retreats and so on. And they asked me to come and speak, and I don't want to go and speak. Ma said, Yes, you must go speak. And you must be steer, dear, and veer. You must be firm, you must be unshakable, and you have to be courageous. So I went and did it, and I didn't win many friends. But Ma said, You have to do it. So, all right, so I did it. So you can't be fickle. You can be prudently quiet, of course. All right, more qualities. Vigor, virya, real strength. That means strength of mind, strength of character. Psychologically strong. Patience. Yeah, indeed. fortitude, courage. It sometimes takes a great deal of courage just to follow the simple path to God. Purity, there's shocha, cleanliness, and also purity in the sense of being purified. And of course, this means physical and mental purity, because slovenly, dirty people have slovenly, dirty vibrations, and that doesn't work for sun. Absence of hatred, incapable of hating. And if you haven't quite reached that level, then it means absolutely never, and having sort of a warning or guard in your mind where you say, I don't go to that place. Absence of pride, of course, arrogance, great self satisfaction, not atmic satisfaction, but ego satisfaction. They are the endowment of those born to a divine state. Now, I want to look up endowment for you. It's good to know these words. It's hard, sometimes it's impossible almost to translate a word, and then sometimes people just, well, they sort of throw in a word that sort of means it, all right? But the word endowment is sampadam, sampadam, which means an endowment. In other words, they already have it as a reserve in the personality, or acquisition. Someone who has created these things in themselves, they have cultivated these qualities, even if not absolutely perfect, yet they are cultivating them and working toward coming up to the full measure. Also means a requisite. You have to have these things. They're not like helps, they are essentials. And of course, it's a condition. You don't just act kind, you have to be kind. Like Swami Shivananda had the motto, do good, be good. Do and be need to be the same quality. And even says destiny. In other words, it's what destines us toward enlightenment. That's a lot for one word to mean, but such it is. Those who are going to that Devic condition, where you can go to the world of the Devas, the shining world of radiance, and go higher and higher into the source of light. Now we're going to talk about not so nice. Hypocrisy. In other words, which includes inconsistency in a person's words and deeds and real aims and behavior. Arrogance, well, we all know what that is. Conceit, great self satisfaction. Well, I don't have any complaint about myself. Anger, harshness. A lot of people, they wouldn't hit you or yell at you, but they're just, you know, they're just like a dog that goes, they behave that way all the time. And then people do what they want and they fall into line because they say, oh, watch out for Evelyn. She just may blow up at any minute. Well, what kind of a fool would you and I be to go around Evelyn? You leave a skunk alone. You don't go up and say, here, kitty, 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 kitty. I see the divine in you. No, you get away from the skunk. There are a lot of human skunks. Yogananda said this in one of his talks, don't be a skunk that you stink up everywhere you go. All right. Ignorance. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't understand. That's no excuse. That's saying I'm a negative person. I'm a deficient. I'm a defective person. Now, There are certain things that are very high and abstract, and of course, you won't demand that everybody knows, and beginners especially. But ignorance in, especially in virulent ignorance, is that which does not have to be present, but is present through neglect or through another form of ignorance, not even aware that these virtues are around or these abilities are around or that they are needed. Again, my friend that filled away his spiritual life, and every year when we meet at church camp, the same thing. Oh, after a while, it just doesn't seem so important. You know, there was a song all about the judgment, of course, meant to scare people, but it describes some of these people that were at the judgment. It wasn't going well, and it quotes him, says, "No time now to think of religion. Now, well, I've got other things to do. Well, I have to my family to look after. But there are a lot of people say when I'm old, decrepit, there's nothing else I can do. I'll think about religion." So anyway, it says, "No time now to think of religion. At last, they had found time to die." You and I are all going to find time to die. We may not find time to read all those books we want to read. We may not find time to do all those positive things we want to do. But friend, we will die. There's no getting away from that. So live not pessimistically or under a gloomy cloud, but live in that perspective. Just be aware that life can be over in a moment and live accordingly. Then remember, the higher life will open to you, hopefully a higher life, so be ready for it. All right. These are the endowment of those born to a demonic state. They are the inheritance, they are the situation, the qualities for those who are going to be in darkness, not demonic like there are some people you could say they are really a devil, but it means to just be in the dark. Well, look at the whole world out there around us. Aren't they walking in darkness? Not horrible people, not actively evil people, but without the light, they do not see. Though there is a statement, there are none so blind as those who will not see. Who also, there are those too. I'm not going to see it. If I don't see it, I won't have to act on it. All right. The divine state leads to liberation. I don't think that should be a surprise. The demonic to bondage, yes, and more bondage. People get worse. You see, you do not stand still. So if you're facing north, you're always walking. So if you are facing north, you walk north. If you face south, you walk south. So you are either developing or de-developing. Seriously, you're either evolving or you're unevolving. You're devolving. You are not now, today, the same person you were yesterday. You're either more or you're less. Of course, people go down and up and down. It's just sort of like, uh, right, climbing the grease pole and sliding down. But nobody stands still. We often say, well, people are stagnated, but the truth is they're not. They're just a lump, and we think they're that way, but the truth is, it's like modeling clay that you model with it, and then as it sits, it becomes hard like a rock. That's what those people are doing. You think they're only stagnating, but they're getting more and more incorrigible. It's inveterate. They won't be, who knows when they can turn back. Usually these are the people it takes a tremendous shock, and the shock is painful. I know, so on it goes. But they set themselves up for it. All right. There are two types of being in this world, the divine and the demonic. The divine has been described at length. Hear from me of the demonic, and that's the subject of this chapter. One of the nastiest people I ever knew. There are some people, they walk in the room and they do stink it up like a skunk. She was one. And guess what? You're not going to hear about her till next time. But it might be instructive, so I hope it won't be unpleasant. But anyway, our time has gone, and I hope you liked it as much as I did. If so, then you like it a lot. Because I can't see you, and your listening is going to happen in the future, but I know you're there and I feel it. And so, goodbye. Thank you. I've liked it a lot.